Welcome to the Sooner State. And to start, we'll go to the town of Lawton to take a look at their downtown mall, the Central Plaza. We have quite a bit to talk about, so let's get walking. Before we get into the history, those of you over 21, here's a drinking game you can play. Take a shot every time you see a security uniform in this video. You already saw one in the intro. Tread carefully, however, because you might get a hangover at the end of this. You have been warned if you play. Central Plaza Lawton's roots go back to the 70s, when a downtown shopping mall was first proposed for the small city back in 1976. The project was meant to revitalize the downtown district, of which was reportedly in dire need of redevelopment or revitalization. After much legal back and forth behind the scenes, a contract was eventually signed for the mall in 1977, and downtown blocks were cleared to make way for the mall construction, which would be developed by the Warmack Company. I mention this as some to this day think that downtown should have been preserved for historical value, and I can see what they're getting at. It would have been better to build on the northwest end, where the rest of the city's retail is, or by Interstate 44. The mall would officially open in 1979 as the Central Mall, and would house JCPenney, Sears, and a rare, original Dillard's as original anchors. And according to the Daily Oklahoman, it was a bustling highlight of downtown in its heyday, despite the controversy of demolishing downtown for a mall. The mall even had some creative events, like the 7-Up jail, in which a local celebrity would be imprisoned in a cell made up of 7-Up cases, and in order to free this celebrity, people would have to purchase these 6-packs of soda. Former Mayor Wayne Gilley was also reported to routinely start his morning walking laps at the mall. Pardon if I mispronounced that name. Central Mall Lawton would compete indirectly against the Sykes Center, a mall in Wichita Falls, Texas, which is a story for another day. And given their lifespans, both had their own niche of customers to keep going. However, as a piece of forgotten mall history, what you may not realize is that the Central Mall almost had direct competition in the form of the North Mall. According to the Daily Oklahoman, this was a federally funded project to build a small mall to provide businesses and jobs for the black population of Lawton. However, potential tenants backed out on the deal, dooming the mall before it could ever get off the ground. And given that all I could find was a single Daily Oklahoman paper mentioning the North Mall, it seems that this place was just not meant to be. On a lighter note, in 1998, the Daily Oklahoman would highlight an event known as the Olympic Flame Relay held in Lawton. The 67 runner event was meant to celebrate the Winter Olympics that year and would feature multiple Olympians like Jason Rouser, Shannon Miller, and Thane Baker, among others at the event. The relay route would snake through Fort Sill and Lawton before ending at the Central Mall, where they would speak with the community as well as sign autographs. This was all part of a fundraising event to raise money for the U.S. Olympic Committee. Enter the 2000s, and the controversy that was demolishing downtown blocks for the Central Mall would begin to rear its ugly head. And there was a growing push to start over on this urban renewal project. As much as I like malls, I can see what they're getting at. Central Mall would have been much better placed along Interstate 44 or on the northwest side where much of the town's retail stands. This would already put Central Mall in a bad light among the locals, and to make matters worse, Gang violence began to crop up at the mall in 2007, which led to intervention by city police as well as a crackdown on loitering at the mall. And in 2016, things got even worse when heavy rains caused parts of East Lawton to flood, Central Mall included. Fortunately, the damage wasn't extreme as the mall was able to reopen shortly after. Before I conclude the history, I found this little display by the entrance to the former Dillard's. Best I can gather, it appears to highlight historic events across Oklahoma as well as Black history. Personally, I think it would be better to repurpose one of the vacant inline spaces as a gallery for this, but still, I thought it was a neat setup. Back to the history. Finally, the exodus began in 2017 when Sears, surprise surprise, closed its doors for the last time. The beginning of the terrible 20s were also sure to slap Central Mall in the face when Dillard's closed its doors for the last time. This just left JCPenney as the sole primary anchor, with an Old Navy as a junior anchor. Even a theater on site at the mall appears to have closed its doors. In 2021, the city of Lawton would purchase the mall from Kohan Retail Investment Group, whom owned the mall at the time. After changing the mall's name from Central Mall to Central Plaza, they would bring forward a new vision for the mall as well as a redevelopment plan. This plan would basically turn the mall into an open-air lifestyle center. How original. However, progress is underway at this time and is focused on the anchors for now. The former Sears and Dillard stores, for example, are being reconfigured for an engineering and defense company known as Vista Innovation Park. Interesting name. Nonetheless, it appears the Central Plaza will have a new life very soon. I'll admit, it's not a bad-looking mall, but it is rather plain. If you're going to build a mall downtown, you should at least get with a more proper theme that fits with the rest of the city. But again, this mall should not have been built downtown to begin with, in my opinion. The original plan was to get rid of a number of strip clubs and dive bars on one downtown block, but this was just way too far. Now, it's not like the mall wasn't successful, however. It had at least 10 to 20 years of prosperity, but now it's sliding hard, and at least the city is getting on top of it with a redevelopment plan, and while demolling it is in the cards, there hasn't been any closing date officially announced, at least as of the making of this video. So it'll be interesting to see where things go next. I also wonder how many malls have a defense contractor office as part of their tenant roster, because that's a first for me. It makes sense since Lawton is just a stone's throw away from Fort Sill, but that's still an odd sight to behold. Thanks for having me, Lawton, Oklahoma, and until next time, this is Doomie Grunt wishing you and the Central Plaza farewell and good luck in this mad, mad, mad world.